Welcome to AG's Ace. Today we are talking about Glenn Maxwell, who has been nicknamed for quite some time the Big Show. Yes, I know what you're thinking, because from 2016 till now, 5 years have gone by, and mostly of non-performing in the IPL. And after 5 years, he's hit a 50 for RCB. So the Big Show is finally kicking in, but it has taken a lot of confidence from the buyers, from the teams. And this time, a lot of credit must go to Virat Kohli, who after the ODI series got over against Australia and the T20 series, he had a word with Glenn Maxwell in Australia, which Glenn has himself admitted to. And after that, he was inducted into the RCB team at a fat cost. So there was quite a bit of negative reaction. And I found that very interesting, because when senior players, former players have such a thing to say about a current player, first of all, it is rare, and they've been very, very blunt. Let me take you through some of the comments first before I get down to what I really have to say. So let's look at the negative comments on Maxwell, which happened before the IPL 2021. So the first one is from Scott Styrus, who sits in the dugout for Star Sports, easily one of the finest commentators in the business. But have a look at the comment. He says the answer is, if anybody pays anything close to that sort of 10 crore mark, they have got rocks in their head. It is that simple. We all know how good a player he is, and that is not the question. The talent is there, but the talent has outweighed the actual performances we have seen from Glenn Maxwell. Tough words. Now comes another comment from Virender Sehwag, even worse, far more brutal, and I thought vicious, from Virender Sehwag. What does he say? He says, Maxwell doesn't take the pressure at all in IPL. He's there only for enjoyment. He will do everything in the match, encourage players, roam around, dance, other than scoring runs. As soon as the match is over, if he is getting free drinks, he will take that to his room or go to the room and have a lot of drinks. So I never felt that he's that serious about the game. When he comes to the IPL, he is more serious about his golf than cricket, because if you're that serious, the performance shows. From Viru, this is a very vicious comment against Glenn Maxwell. Now, it can be weighed whether it is right or wrong for another player to speak like this, but that's beside the point. It just shows he evokes strong reactions. Okay, now a quick word at some of the positive reactions. AB says, to be honest, we enjoy playing together. We are similar players with a lot of energy, and we love having an impact for the team. Graham Swan says, he's nowhere near being the Big Show, but he's got Virat Kohli and AB in the team, and it really suits him to be that third player who can just go out there and express himself without having to carry the team. I found that a very interesting comment coming from Graham Swan, who also sits in the dugout with Scott Styrus, and this is a serious analytical comment from Graham. I have a couple of points to make about Maxi. First of all, what could be the reasons why he is kicking in now? Because he's earlier played for other franchises in the IPL and failed quite poorly. They also paid big bucks. They never got their return. There was a lot of pressure on Glenn Maxwell right through, but it is only now that in RCB he's being able to kick in. There are a few points I want to run through. First of all is that being under the radar helps him in RCB. He is not the main guy. Who are the main guys? The main guys are Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers, two huge names in this format, in any kind of format. And of course, another very important point was that when Virat approached him in Australia, Virat did have a sense about how he could use Glenn Maxwell in his team. And so far, he has been really performing well. Now, they are saying that he's more focused now. My point is, wasn't he focused earlier? Because when you talk about a professional cricketer, they have to be focused, they have to be on the ball, they have to be fit, and they have to perform. Now, whether you like it or not, that's part of the deal. No wonder that you're being paid those fat bucks. So if the focus wasn't there earlier, where has it come in now? I believe one of the main reasons is that he's slightly under the radar. The entire focus is not on him. It is on Virat and AB. And when he comes in to bat, it's nicely fitting him. And he, of course, he is a very talented player, no doubt about it. But it gives him that kind of time. It takes the heat off. The glare is not on him. and he's been doing beautifully. A couple of other points. First is that he scored a 50 for RCB after 2016, which is 5 long years. And that's a hell of a lot of waiting to see him perform. Now, he captained the side in the Big Bash. And that information is showing up. And that may have helped him mature, because when a player like that is captaining the other boys, automatically you stop all the time thinking about yourself. You're thinking about the game, about field positions, about carrying the team together, about bonding. So there is more wisdom and maturity coming in. And of course, this IPL could be the time when the big show lights up. Now, a couple of stats which are pretty interesting. He has hit 78 of 49 balls as RCB thrashed KKR by 38 runs. That was point one. The second point was he scored just 108 runs at number 5 for Punjab Kings XI all of last year before being released by the team. So they had a pretty rough time with him. Just imagine that, just 108 runs for Punjab Kings XI. He made 2 consecutive half centuries in the last 2 matches in the IPL. He played responsibly in both the knocks. Generally, we see Maxi throwing his wicket away with some reckless batting, but his approach is different this time. It is responsible, and he's doing a great job for RCB. Strangely enough, despite being a player who was purely an A-lister, he's never quite enjoyed being the center of attraction, which came inevitably with hefty price tags. He has withered under it and overburdened himself with the pressure to perform and a fear of failure. It was most glaring in his stint with Kings XI Punjab, when every time he walked out to bat, he was expected to produce miracles which never happened. Also, let us not forget that Glenn Maxwell has been pretty open about the fact that he went through depression. He went through a very rough time mentally. He took a break from the game. And when he came back, he was pretty much a transformed player. So every player feels the heat. And these are modern times where players admit the fact that they are under the weather. They're mentally not there. They're finding the bubble very difficult. Or like Glenn Maxwell said, that, I went through a pretty rough time mentally, and he was in a pretty bad condition. So he had to, he quit the game for some time. When he came back, he was a changed player. And after his IPL flop show in 2020, he had 3 solid innings in Australia's 2-1 ODI series win over India. He also hit 50 to secure Australia's lone win in the T20 series loss that followed. The Big Bash League also saw him perform quite well. 379 runs in 14 games, averaging 31 with 350s. He helped Melbourne Stars end their 7th out of 8 teams. And he really helped the Melbourne side. In Australia, Glenn Maxwell is spoken pretty highly by his peers, by contemporaries, and by the former greats. But it is only now that you see that the real Glenn Maxwell has come into play. And like I said, there are some players who do not like the focus all the time on them, who are very talented, who can perform, and who can evoke some very, very strong reactions, like I took you through, like the way Viru is trashing him, Scott Steyer is doing it more stylishly. But the main point here to remember is that when former players see a highly talented man like Glenn Maxwell, they expect him to perform, and that expectation never really goes away. So it is time for the big show to perform in this year's IPL, and we are watching. Thanks for watching AG's Ace.